Welcome back, guys. In this particular video, we're going to be taking a look at how to initialize an ASA from scratch. So you've never seen an ASA before, this is where you start at. This is also going to be reviewing some of the topics that we covered in the overview video where we talked about the security levels, the traffic flows, and all that. In this particular video, we're not going to take a look at the traffic flows, but at least we're going to take a look at how to initialize a particular device with a particular ASA from scratch. So the main topics, what are the different interface configuration parameters that you need on an ASA? I'll have a blank ASA that I'll bring up from scratch, the configuration commands for it, the verification commands that you use, and then the lab configuration. So getting started, again, this is going to be sort of a review for you guys in the sense that we have talked about the interface configuration commands. I'll again go over it real quick and then actually demonstrate that to you guys. Let's get started. As we discussed in terms of the interface configuration, besides doing the normal configuration that you do on a router interface, there's two additional parameters that are required to configure an interface on the ASA. In this particular video, we're going to be taking a look at those two additional parameters on an interface to see how an ASA is initialized based on the interfaces. So to recap, in addition to having an IP address and a no-shut command under the interface, on an ASA interface, you have two additional parameters. What are the two additional parameters that you have? You have the name of the interface, which is the name that all the commands from that point on will reference the interface based on. So rather than pointing to an interface using gig 0/0 or E0/0, I'm going to point to it using the name of the interface. The name of the interface is not case sensitive for the most part. There are certain commands that do need you to put the name of the interface exactly the same way that you did when you initially configured it. So we'll take a look at that over here. It's not case sensitive. If you enable or set a name of the interface on an interface that does not have a security level on it, it will automatically set the security level also. Automatically sets the security level on what interfaces? On interfaces that are blank, on blank interfaces. All right. So for example, you're just going in and configuring a brand new interface and it does not have a security level on it, and you set the name, let's say, as DMZ. It will automatically set the security level of that interface to 0. And you can see that command being done in your running config. When you go back and check your running config, you'll see the security level to 0. All the interface names, every interface name except for the word inside, and as I said, it's not case sensitive regardless of how you type in inside, on a blank interface, it will set the security level to 100. Every other interface name will set it to 0. And what's the significance of the security level? We talked about that as well. The security level is the one that governs the default flow of traffic through the firewall. So let's say you had two interfaces over here. Traffic was going in from an interface with a higher security level, and the routing tells it to go towards an interface that has a lower security level. By default, all traffic allowed. We discussed that in the previous video, in the overview video. Although all traffic is allowed, we also talked about that it only inspects TCP and UDP traffic. So the return traffic would only be coming in for TCP UDP based traffic. How about traffic coming in from the other side, from low to high? Low to high, all traffic blocked by default. If you want to allow traffic to come in from a low security interface to a higher security interface, you do have to build. You have to have an explicit ACL created and applied to the interface, or you can have a return traffic which is coming in based on the inspection done based on TCP UDP. So that's what the security level does. Both of those parameters are as important as the IP address parameter under the interface. So that's what this slide over here is talking about. Let's recap these things. Again, this is a review from what we did in the previous video. The name of the interface, not case sensitive for the most part. As I said, there are certain commands that do point to it using the proper case. Specifically, we'll discuss that when we go into the VPN section, the crypto map command. When you apply the crypto map, you need to specify the proper case of the interface. It does preserve the case. So when you create the interface as inside with I capital, later on you can reference inside with lowercase inside, but once you put the command in and you go check your running config, you will see that it has automatically changed that command to inside. You'll see that as we go through the video. It is a required parameter, and from this point on, all the commands, let's say I want to do a route command, I would use a route command along with the exit interface. So I would have to say inside or outside or whatever name I gave to the interface. I need to tell it which is the exit interface. And the exit interface is not going to be the G00 interface. It's going to be the name of the interface that you assigned over here. That's why I mean over here, it's not going to reference the physical ID. I'm going to reference the inside interface. The next parameter, as we talked about, was the security level parameter. What does it do? It's the one that controls the default flow of traffic through the firewall. The numbers are 0 through 100. 0 is the untrusted port, generally the outside or the internet facing port. 100 is the inside interface or the corporate network. Everything else, like the DMZ, would be in the middle. This is the low to high or high to low traffic that we were talking about. We also had a discussion about if you have two interfaces that have the same security level, what happens to them as well. We'll also do that in a lab later on in one of the following labs that we'll do. The last thing is the IP address. That's the other important configuration parameter that you have. The IP address is pretty much the same as a router with one subtle difference. If you're assigning an IP address to an interface that is using the default mask, so for example, if I'm assigning 20.10/24 to the interface, under the interface command, I don't need to put the mask. I can if I want to, but I really don't need to. If I put 192.1.20.10, it sees it as a class C network. You haven't put the mask in, it automatically puts the default mask for class C. So it'll be 255.255.255.0, and you will see it under your running config. So when you go under the running config, you'll actually get a chance to see that. All right. So one thing to be cautioned about over here is, let's say you wanted to assign an IP address of 10.1.1/24. In this case, you do need to put the mask in, because if you don't, it's going to assume the default mask of what? Class A, which is going to be 255.0.0.0, because class A defaults to /8. So keep in mind, for this type of stuff, you would need to go in and actually put the mask in as what? 255.255.255.0. All right. So those are the three parameters that you need to do under the interface. Configuration commands, an example of that is over here. So in this particular example, I'm assigning an IP address of 192.1.20.0/24 to the gig00 interface. The name of the interface is outside. Notice I put O capital. It should have a security level of 0. Essentially, what I could have done, I could have said interface 0/0, name if outside. As soon as I do that, it automatically sets a security level to 0. Remember what I told you, the default security level is 0. Okay? And IP address, notice I did not put the mask in. It's going to take the default mask of class C, which is /24. Don't forget the no shut. Just like a router interface, the interface on a firewall, an ASA firewall, is also shut down by default. Let's take a look at the second interface, second example over here. Configure gig 0/1 with an IP address of 10.11.11.10/24. Notice over here, it is not using the default mask, so I need to specify the mask. The name of the interface should be inside. These are the two common names of the interfaces that you'll see a lot in the industry. Outside for the internet-facing interface, inside for the corporate interface or the inside interface. It should have a security level of 100. Again, you notice that I put the name if inside. IP address, I did put the mask over here because it's not using the default mask. I did do it. I did not use the security level again because I'm using the word inside. Remember what I told you about the word inside? If I use the word inside, it automatically sets the security level to 100. I don't need to do it. Could I have done it if I was getting paid by the hour just to show I'm doing more work? Absolutely, but it's not required. Mask is required as it's a non-default mask for the class, which is, it would have been a /8, which would have been wrong. Security level is not required as it automatically sets the security level to 100 for any interface that is given a name of inside. It doesn't matter what case you put it in. It's not case sensitive for this part. All right. So that's how you configure it. Now the show commands. How do I verify that? Different commands to verify it. One way is show run interface. It basically shows you your running config. But inside the running config, all it shows you is the interfaces. So not the entire running config, just the interface config. All right, that's one way of doing it. You remember this, show run, and the name of the command will give you just that part of the running config. The other one, to check the status, whether it's up or not, and the IP address and the mask, show interface IP brief, which is similar to your router command called show IP interface brief. All right, so this is a little different, show interface IP brief. Then you have the show name if command. This will show you the name of the interfaces and their respective security level. So if you want to find out what security level is assigned to what interface, show interface IP brief will not show it to you. Show run would, because it's in the running config. The other more concise command is show name if for finding out the name of the interfaces and their corresponding security levels. These are the verification commands. Let's jump to the fun stuff, that's a lab, and actually see it work. So this is my lab topology that I'll be building. What I've done over here is I've already configured router 2. I've set the IP address over here on the router to 20.2. I've set up 3 loopbacks over here, 10.2.20, 199.110, 200.110. Let me show you that over here because I want you guys to see what's configured around it. And then once you do that, then we can take it to the next level and take a look at the ASA configuration. So let's do this over here. Go to router 2. Show IP interface brief. 20.2 is my IP of the interface that is facing my E00 towards the ASA firewall. 20.0 is the network, and I have 3 loopbacks, 10.2.20, 199.110, 200.110. I'll be using it in a bunch of different labs that are coming up. I'll be using the same topology for about maybe 15-20 labs, so get used to this particular topology in the coming labs. All the different labs will show you this topology, and I'll be building up as we go along. So that is router 2 along the same lines. So these are your loopbacks. I don't have any routes or default routes set up over here. If I do show IP route, it's just the directly connected interfaces. Now let's go check the other one. The next one is the router inside. Router inside again has one Ethernet interface facing 10.11.11.0, another one facing 10.20.20.0, the Ethernet, and a couple of loopbacks, 10.1 and 10.10. Let's take a look at it. So I should have a total of 4 interfaces, 2 loopbacks and 2 Ethernets. Let's check that. Show IP interface brief. The 2 loopbacks, 10.1.1.1, 10.10.10.1, 10.11.11.10 is the Ethernet interface. The other one that I have the PC connected on is 10.20.21. Moving right along, R3, which is one on the DMZ3 network, 192.168.3.3 is the IP address over here on E00, and I have 1 loopback over there. Let's check that. This is my loopback. This is my 3.3 network. Again, just like the other ones, I don't have any other interfaces configured. So basic IP address configuration is there. Loopback behind R4 and the IP address over here. Again, based on this. So my objective in the lab is to focus on configuring the IP addresses on the ASA. This is what I want to do, gig 00. I want to assign it an IP address of 20.10. Give it a name of outside, a security level of 0. Assign the gig 01 interface 10.11.11.10 inside with a security level of 100. The DMZ3, DMZ4, the names are there. Security levels, I want to keep it the same because I have a lab in mind that we'll be doing later on for the same security level. The IP addresses are there. So how do I go about doing it? Let's go ahead and take a look. First of all, I'll check whether my ASA is blank or not. Show interface IP brief is the command for that. You'll notice all the interfaces are not set right now, unassigned. The other thing that you can also do over here, you notice that I'm doing the show run command without any do commands in the global config. I absolutely have the capability of doing that. Rather than seeing the entire running config, I just want to focus on the interfaces. So it shows you what the interface looks like when it's blank. Gig 00, it's shut down, no name if, no security level, no IP address. So with that in mind, my objective over here is to set the devices up. Let's start by setting up the IP address on the outside. 192.1.20.10. The name of the interface is outside with a security level of 0. Because it's a blank interface, when I go to configure it and I set the name of the interface, it should automatically set my security level. It actually lets you know that. As soon as you put, say, name if outside, it said info. This is an informational message. Security level for the outside set to 0 by default. Because any name except for the word inside sets it to 0. You can also do a show run interface, and I want to focus on gig 00 right now. It should tell you that I've set these two parameters. All right. This setting of the security level is only on a blank interface. If it already had a security level on it, I would not override it. All right. That's done. Now the IP address. The IP address that I want to set over here, if you guys take a look at it, is /24. /24 is the default mask for C. If I want to, I can put the mask in over here, but I don't need to. Let me just put an enter over here to show you that it does take it. Not only that, then I'll go ahead and show you the running config. Notice it has put the mask over here as well. Okay. Last but not the least, bring it up. So now your interface is up. Different ways of checking it, as I showed you, show interface gig 0/0, show interface IP brief, that also checks the physical connectivity. It is up. Got it? So now let's move on to the inside interface. Inside 100.10.11.11.0/10/24. It's a class A network, but not a default mask. So I need to put the mask in here. So how do I go about doing it? Interface gig 0/1, name if, inside. You'll notice the message pops in that it's set it to what? 100. Doesn't matter what case you put inside, as long as it's inside, it'll set it to 100. Then it set the security level already. The only thing I need to do now is IP address. Now I don't want to put this because if I do that, I'll do that so that you guys can see it. Gig 0/1. You'll notice it put it as 255.0.0.0, which is wrong. So I need to put the proper mask in. So it should look like this. And it's still shut down? No shut. Show interface IP brief is the other command that you could use to show you the status. The interface is up. Show name if is the other one that I showed in your verification commands. I have two interfaces right now outside, which is gig 00 with a security level of 0, and gig 01, which is inside. Notice it preserved the case. When I put it in uppercase I, it keeps it like that with a security level of 100. Good. Moving right along. Gig 02 with the DMZ, but it needs to have a security level of 50. When I create DMZ3, it's automatically going to set the security level to 0, but then I need to change it. So let's do this one now. Gig 0/2, name if, DMZ3 sets the security level to 0. Any name except for the word inside sets it to 0. So I'll change the security level by using the security level command to 50. The order does not matter. You can put it in any order you want. 3.10. Now 3.10, I don't need to put the mask because it is the default mask. 3.10, class C mask, good enough. No shut, done. Gig 0/3, which is name if DMZ4, security level 50. Also, because I want to check that same security level traffic, 192.168.4.10. I want you guys to see, even if I want to, I can put the mask. It will take it. If you don't specify it, it's going to default. So now I have 4 interfaces. All of them are up. 192.1.20.10, 11.10, 3.10, 4.10. Show run interfaces will also show you that in the running config. It only shows you that part of the running config, and the last show name if shows you the names of the interfaces. All right, so I've done that. I've also given you the basic or the initial config of router 1, router 2, router 3, router 4 with the loopbacks and the Ethernet interfaces configured. This is the config that I just went through. The interface gig 0/0 set the name and the IP address. Gig 01 did the same thing. Gig 02, gig 03 did the same thing. With the different IPs on between gig 02 and 3, the same security level, but the rest is the same. Now at this point, if I go back to my diagram, I should be able to reach my directly connected interfaces. So I should go over here. I should be able to ping router 2. On the ASA, I should be able to ping 3 on this side, 4 on this side, and 1 on the inside. Let's see if that's working. So what I'll do over here is ping 192.20.2. Notice no do command. You can do your normal commands anywhere on your on the ASA, unlike the router. 20.2 is pingable. 10.11.11.1, which is router 1, is also pingable. 3.3 should also be pingable. 4.4 is also pingable. So all my surrounding routers that are surrounding my my ASA firewall are reachable. So my basic config is done now. So router 2, I ping. Router 1, I ping. 3.3 and 4.4 I ping. I would not be able to go beyond it right now because I don't have any routes beyond the directly connected. So for example, if I wanted to ping any of these routes, they're beyond my directly connected. I would need to have routing to take care of that. And that's the next thing that we'll be taking a look at. So right now, I just have directly connected routes. You can also see the routes. Just like you have a routing table on the router, you have the same thing on the ASA firewall because essentially it is a router. The way you check it, you don't do show IP route, you just do show route because the only protocol that the ASA supports is IP. So you don't need to qualify it by IP. The reason that you have show IP route because in the older days you used to have other routing protocols like routed protocols like IPX, AppleTalk. So they had to make a distinction between the different routing tables. Here we don't. It's just ASA is just for IP. So show route shows you the connected routes for inside, outside, DMZ, and 3 and DMZ4. All right. So you're on your way to configuring the ASA firewall. In the next video, we're going to be taking a look at some more advanced topics like routing. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys in the next video.